So now we're on our very last turn of Mage Knight. At this point, we kind of want to maximize the points that we can generate in this last turn. Unfortunately, there's not too much we can do. It's not too exciting. Behind the White Castle, there is a spawning grounds, and if we were to go over there, we would spawn 2 brown monsters. There's a good chance that they would probably inflict more harm than good. The main items I have here to damage any monsters that we're going to fight is we have Firebolt, Ritual Attack, and I can probably ready one of my units and add either Range, Fire Attack 6 or Siege, Ice Attack 5. I only have 1 red mana in the crystals, and the source only has blue, green, and white. I have no way of manipulating that. Plus, at the end of the game, each wound I have in my hand will give me -2 points. So these are another thing, or something else I need to consider when trying to maximize my turn. A lot of times when in doubt, it's always best to play it safe, since I don't know what I'm going to get from that spawning grounds. I mean, I could potentially be able to kill it and net a high amount of points, but there's also that chance that I would end up getting, let me show you an example. A double one of these guys over here. They're elusive. He's got 4, but he also has the, if I don't block his attack 4, he'd be worth 8. So if I went over there and I drew 2 of these guys, that would be 16 points of damage I would have to inflict. And I only have the maximum, I believe, I can generate about maybe 10 or 11 points. So instead, what I'm going to be doing is playing a very conservative last turn. I'm going to play Refreshing Walk for its Heal 2 ability. And I will throw away 2 of these wound cards. And the White City has an ability where you can recruit any unit on it. Also, you can pay Influence 2 to draw another elite unit and add it to the unit pile. I think another way I can maximize this turn is by recruiting myself a unit. At the end of the game, you get points equal to the amount, the level amount of the units that you recruit. And since we killed that dragon in the last round, our reputation track isn't quite so negative as it used to be. So with the -2 plus the +2 I'll get from Dark Negotiations, that will negate all my negative reputation. So I'm going to go ahead and do an interact action. I'm going to play the rest of my cards sideways. And I'll get the influence from the shield markers I have on the city. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm actually not going to be able to interact this turn. At least not get the level guys that I wanted. I wanted the level 3. I may only be able to get the level 2. So I'll get, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'll use that to purchase the shock troops. Not what I was hoping to get because they're only at level 2, but that's a 1 point difference. And I can make that up by playing Firebolt. It says gain a red mana crystal to your inventory. And also in the end of the game, for every 2 crystals we have, we will get 1 fame. So that will make up for not being able to purchase one of the other guys. Alright, so with that being done, that is the very last turn. Now we will go to the scoring phase and see how we did. One quick note that I forgot to do before I end my turn. We still have this leadership ability over here that I'm going to flip over. Instead of using it to ready a unit, I'm going to go ahead and flip it, and I'm going to heal this unit, and that'll give us another point towards the end. So now we calculate all the different achievement bonuses that we may have achieved. First thing we're going to look at is the greatest knowledge. And we'll get 2 points for every spell that we've earned, and 1 point for every advanced action that we've earned. This one right here we're not going to be using for the solo conquest, but if we were playing competitive, then this is the greatest knowledge, and whoever has the highest amount of each of these categories will get a +3 to their fame as well. So we'll just be calculating these for the solo conquest. So what I normally like to do at this time is I like to go ahead and separate all the different things I earned during the game in separate piles and separate my base deck. When in doubt about which cards go into the base character's deck, they all have their corresponding symbol up there on the upper right corner, and each player should have 16. Alright, so for the greatest knowledge I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whoops, hold on. Let's go back. This is actually an artifact, so separate that in its own. And make sure there's no other ones that have slipped the cracks here. Oh, it'll just be that one. The other ones we destroyed to take out the city. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So what we'll do now, we'll go ahead and set these aside so I don't double count them. And we will increase our score by 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The next category to score is the greatest loot. You get +2 for every artifact card you have, and +1 for every pair of crystals you have, or every 2 crystals. So we have 2. And we have 2 crystals in our inventory, so that'll be 3. One, 2, 3. And during this phase, you don't level up or anything. All you're doing is counting the score that you get for achievement bonuses and seeing how high up you can get your fame. Next, we have the greatest leader. And what that question mark means is you count the amount for the levels, or you count the fame for what level your units are. And this one over here is if you have a wounded unit, you count that one divided in half. On the top of my head, I can't remember if it's rounded down or rounded up. If it was relevant, I would look it up real quick, but we don't have any wounded units right now, so we'll just count the number of levels they have. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Next, we count up the greatest conqueror, and then over here in this one we count up the greatest adventurer. The reason these are split up like this is because there are potentially 2 different routes you can go in the competitive. You can go around conquering all the fortified or the sites that gives you negative reputation for hitting, or you can be an adventurer and just conquer all the things that none of the villagers or the locals of the Atlantean Empire would really care, like the adventure ruins, tombs, spawning grounds, things like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and count each one of our sites that we have an icon for 2 on the board. Alright, so we have 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. We never went ahead and captured these other monasteries, even though we were on the trend of being the monastery sackers, going around and destroying every monastery we could find. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 for both of those categories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this overlaps once you fill up this track, and that's actually 121 points so far. Now for the bad news. we get the greatest beating. For every wound you have in your hand, you will get -2. So this is why you don't want to take too many wounds during your adventure. Fortunately for us, all we had was 2 wounds in our hand. We were pretty good about healing. We had the refreshing walk and some other abilities that were helping us keep our wounds down to a minimum. So we'll take -2 and -4 for our wounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back down to 117. Now that we're at the bottom of this one, we flip it over and there's more. This is for the Conquest scenarios. We're going to actually go down here to the co-op and solo. This one here, this is where you get really competitive. So each city leader gets some fame and others who contribute get 4 if you're competing with other players. But since we're doing a co-op or solo scenario, we'll get +10 per conquered city. And we've conquered 2 cities. And this one, before I count up this one over here, it says +15 if all cities were conquered. This may seem a little odd in the solo scenario because there's only 2 cities. So it's like, okay, you get +10 for conquered city, and then +15. So it throws people off. But yeah, you'll score 20 for this one, and you also get +15 because in a co-op, sometimes if you have more players, you can potentially have 4 cities. So you would just be scoring a +10 for conquered cities, and that one makes a little bit more sense with a lot of cities. So for right now, we'll score +10 for conquered, and we conquered 2 cities, so we'll give ourselves 20 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that puts us up to 137. Now we do the 15 if all cities were conquered, and we conquered both cities, so we get +15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So now that puts us at 152. And then +30 for each unplayed round. Now, if you like to keep track of all your scores, which I love to do when I play Mage Knight, since I play solo, the only person I'm competing against is myself. I like to see how I do during the games, and I actually have a place on my phone I record all of my solo scores. So if you're keeping track of all your scoring, you definitely want to try to finish the round as early as possible. We finished on the 5th round, so we had one more round. In solo Conquest, you get 3 days and 3 nights to finish the objective. So since we finished on round 5, we get +30 for the round 6 we didn't play. So that's going to move us from 32 to 62. I don't feel like individually counting all those numbers. Alright, so 30 to 62. So extra 30, so that puts us at, we're at 182 so far. And then +1 card, or +1 per card remaining in the dummy player's deck. Unfortunately, the dummy player was actually all out of cards. He did not declare end of round, but he didn't have any cards in his deck. I have been keeping track of what was going on in the dummy player's application, or the Android app that I downloaded. So +1, we don't get that because it was empty, but he did not declare end of round. So we will get +5 if end of round was not announced on the last round. Had we gone for one more turn, or to take out the city, it actually would have been, we wouldn't get this +5. So we'll get 5 more points, and that will be the total. Alright, so marker ends up on 67, and wrapping around, that would be 120, so our grand total for this playthrough is 187. We scored 187. They didn't quite break 200 like I was hoping. Taking out that city early on, I mean, it definitely contributed to the 187, but I was hoping at least to have hit 200 at this point. But 187 is still not a bad score. A lot of times when I play, I tend to average around anywhere between 150 and 200. I usually fall around there. Every once in a while, depending on which character I play, I'll break 200. I think the highest I've gone is 220, up into 220s, and that was with Krang. But my personal opinion about Krang is that he's extremely powerful. The other Mage Knights don't, or to me at least, I've seen discussion where people think he's, Krang's alright, but he's not their favorite. But I think Krang has a lot of potential to do a lot of damage, and he's a really good character. So usually my plays with Krang are up in the high 190s, 200s. But no, 180 or 187 for me is not a bad score. I'm content with this playthrough. Alright, well that's it. I hope you all enjoyed watching the game, and if you don't already have Mage Knight, I hope this showed or convinced those of you who are on the fence that it's not. It takes a little bit of time getting used to. You have to read the rules a little bit, take some playthroughs, and get used to the mechanics of the game. And every once in a while you have to look through the rule book and see what rules you might misunderstand, but overall it's not bad. It's actually a pretty enjoyable game, and it's my favorite game to go to for solo. So I hope you all enjoyed. Thanks for watching.